Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about ways that you can use your hands in your makeup routine to make it look better, more professional, more editorial, more skin-like, and just a little bit more natural. So let's get into it. Okay, so let's get on to the first major benefit of using your hands to apply makeup. We are going to take our sunscreen, which is super important to wear every single day, no matter what, even if it's cloudy outside. And we're going to take our primer. The one I've been currently loving is the Maybelline Master Prime Face Studio. We're going to take these two products and mix them together, and we're going to massage that into the face. So there are a lot of benefits of doing a facial massage routine, and the main benefit of it is that you can actually move your facial drainage and lymphatic drainage around and manipulate it to actually contour your face without doing any type of makeup. So with applying primers and sunscreens and stuff like that, this is kind of an important step. You want to take advantage of the fact that you have to apply these products, but also massage upward and out from the center of the face. I can do an entire video on facial massage and how I do it, but basically I'm just taking key points in my face where I know fluid drains from, and I'm taking my thumb and massaging up towards the ears, taking this area right here, kind of pushing up, and then pushing out and away from the nose, and I'm using my ring finger and middle finger right here just to push and press, and that's going to move the fluid. And then I use this time to stimulate blood flow around the eyes. This will help depuff, and you want to use really light, gentle pressure for this part. Also, I take my ring finger and I just push on the lids right here, and I just make sure that I gently push that fluid out. So I start here and I just push. All right, the number 2 benefit that we have with using our hands in our makeup routine is to apply our foundation. I was looking back at some older photos of myself, and I really liked the way my foundation looked in this one particular photo from 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, I was using my hand. And I think that over the years, we've just become accustomed to brushes and sponges. So today we're gonna be mixing 2 foundations. We're gonna take the Shiseido Synchro Skin Self-Refreshing Foundation, and we're gonna take the Urban Decay Naked Foundation, and we're gonna use our hands to apply it. Before doing that, we're gonna take the LA Girl Pro Conceal Orange color corrector, and we're gonna pump that out and get a decent amount of product on our ring finger, and I'm going to tap that over the areas that I feel I need to color correct. So using your hands for color correcting foundations, concealers offers a huge advantage in that you can feel where you have texture. So when you're using foundations and concealers, liquids or cream products, and you have areas that have texture, like maybe a breakout, you want to use the least amount of product on those areas. And in order to actually feel the density of that breakout, or the dimensions, or exactly how textured it is, and if it's on the drier side or if it's definitely more of as if that's ready to pop. I know it's gross, but it's just what it is. You need to be able to actually touch it. And we've kind of gotten away from that because of brushes, but also using products that have a lot of saturated color like this color corrector, you're able to shear out the level of coverage that you want just simply by pressing and pushing it across the face. With brushes, you can do the same, but it takes a little bit more time. Like, it's just so fast and easy to do your makeup with your hands. All right, so now moving on to the foundation, we're going to take the Shiseido first, which is a pretty full coverage foundation, and we're going to take the Urban Decay Stay Naked, and we've got a decent amount. We're going to just really blend those together. So this is the third advantage of using your hands, which is you're using the heat and the warmth from your hands to work the foundation. So you're shearing it out, you're warming it up, and it's going to smooth and spread across the skin much more evenly and much faster with less tension and pulling because you took the time to warm it up in your hands. Also, makeup oxidizes whenever it sets with heat. And by doing this with your hands, you're giving it time to oxidize at a faster rate than doing your full makeup and then waiting to see if it changes colors or gets oily or separates or moves at all. This kind of like cuts all of that out and just lets you know what it's going to look like when it's set by doing this. You guys, that looks crazy on camera, but it's gorgeous. It literally is just going on like silk. I'm going to take a little bit on top of my eyelids because I do have hyperpigmentation there. And I have my brows on because we would be here for 2 years if I didn't, but I do carve out my brows with a lighter concealer. So I'm taking a little bit of this foundation and just kind of pushing it into that brow highlight so that it comes together nicely. All right, so we've got a really nice even layer on. If you feel like you did this step and it's just a lot of makeup, take a saturated beauty blender or some type of sponge and just pounce that top superficial layer of your skin. I have a full day of meetings, so I'm actually pretty okay with this coverage, and it's going to dry down really nicely, but it looks like my skin, but better. It just looks like really perfected skin. And you can still see some freckles right here, which is always a key indicator that it's not overly cakey. So what I'm going to do is wash off my hands, and we're going to move on to concealer and contour. Okay, so for concealer, the reason it's important or a benefit to use your hands is because a lot of people anatomically have a bone that sits right here, and then the tissue that is is directly underneath their eye is actually a little bit sunken in, creating the illusion that this is just like a really puffy, recessed bag. And it's a lot of people do message me about it. And so what I like to do with the concealer, again, is take a little bit on your ring finger, and you want to feel where that bone is. That's going to be your barrier. That's how you know where to really stop the brightening concealer. Because if the bone is already protruding, you don't want to put a brightening product to further create the illusion that it's poking out further. You want to just put the brightening product on the part that's the most sunken in. But because we've neutralized the skin tone, we really can't see dimension that much anymore. You need to physically feel where that divot is. So for me, it's right here. So I'm going to focus a lot of my concealer right here. I'm not taking it into a triangle. I'm not dragging it down my face. I'm literally just focusing the product right where it physically is. So I have a decent amount of concealer, and I'm just using the Tarte Shape Tape, and I'm just going to tap it on. Now, you can shear this out if you want a really natural look, or you can leave it on for just a few minutes to let it dry down so that you can get a full coverage look. And this is still with no brushes. Also, after you give it some time to dry, if you do want to blend it out with a sponge just to get a really, really flawless finish, you can. But I recommend applying it with your finger first. That way you can actually feel where you need the most brightening. Also, your ring finger is ideal for the area around your eye. The area around your eye is incredibly delicate, and the ring finger has the shortest tendon, so you physically cannot apply a ton of pressure. But I love the finger for this inner corner area. For me, it comes to a very small pinched point right there, and I have a hard time getting brushes in this inner corner area. And when I do, there's always like skips and gaps, and on top of the eyelid as well. It's very textured. There's a lot of creases, and so the finger just really fits nicely right there. I'm gonna take a little bit down the bridge of my nose and above the eyebrow. And this is really gliding straight on because we had such a beautiful, warm, creamy foundation as our base. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of this and create my Cupid's bow. And this is really nice as well because you actually can feel where the peaks of your lips are and then just focus the product there rather than kind of like haphazardly applying it and hoping that you get the Cupid's bow. And then I have an entire video on contouring and using your hands to feel where you need to place it. But for me, I just make a double chin face and then I put my finger on the roll that I want to conceal. And now I know to put my highlighter right here. I'm also going to take a little bit of this concealer and tap it down my laugh lines. This is better than a brush, hands down, because you're actually pushing the product into the crease and allowing the concealer to really bring the illusion of that forward. With the brush, you don't really know, you don't really feel, you just know it's in this general area, but you don't really feel where exactly that crease is. But this is like you hit it every time. We're gonna go in with the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. This is a satin finish, and this is in the shade Rich Ebony, significantly darker than my skin tone. And we are gonna feel where our bone structure is so that we can apply our contour accurately. Again, I have an entire video on this and this technique because it's really important to actually know where you're placing your product and not just copy what you see on the internet. You want to contour according to your face shape, and the best way to do that is to use your hands. You just literally make the double chin face again and you feel where that jawbone is, and that's how you know where to place your color. So we're just going to take a little bit through here. And then for the bone structure, you're going to feel where your cheekbone actually is and then go slightly above it. If you go below it, you're going to pull your features down. So we're just going to go right here. And then I like to do a little bit underneath the lip to create a shadow and to give myself a fuller lip look. And then again, double chin. We want to go right here. For the nose, we're going to use whatever concealer from this is left over on our hands to carve out the nose because the nose can easily look really muddy. So I'm going to do the same technique on this side right here. All right, let's use our hands to blend that out. So we're just going to take our thumbs, start to drag this line. And again, I know it looks really crazy, and you don't have to use a color this dark, and you don't have to use this product at all, and you can skip this step if cream contour is not for you. But I kind of wanted to demonstrate the power of using your fingers to actually like move product in a way that works in your favor. And now whatever is left over on our hands, we're just going to kind of take that and drag that down from the brow right here, down the sides of the nose. And if you want, you can take it and push it into the crease as well of your eye, kind of creating a little bit of a shadow. And I'm just going to blend. Literally taking my middle finger and just rubbing in small circles, blending out that contour. A lot of times when people nose contour, they end up putting their contour too wide, but using your fingers for this is really important because you can literally just skim down the sides of the nose and create the most perfect pinch for your nose shape. But oh, we forgot to do this lip. All right, my favorite brush to use to blend out the concealer is this e.l.f. stippling brush, and it is horrendously dirty, but I've been filming a lot, so it's okay. I'm blending out that concealer and pushing it up. And although things looked like it got a little muddy at first when we cream contoured, it always comes together in the end, you guys. That can be an intimidating step though, so I understand skipping that part, but you definitely want to use your fingers to contour your nose. And now for this nose, I literally just take the brush and I hold it straight out and I just start to feather back and forth like this. and diffuse that line. All right, you guys, our face is set. I'm gonna touch it up with powder. All right, you guys, we have the face products on now, and we're gonna go into highlight. For highlight, we're gonna go in with the Ofra Rodeo Drive highlighter. I have had my eye on this for a long time, and the company reached out to me and asked me if I wanted anything from the brand, and I said this: if you send me any PR at all, please include this. I don't care whatever else comes. So this is my first time opening it on camera, and this packaging is glorious, and you guys know what this looks like. Awesome. So it's a gorgeous highlight, and I'm gonna just apply a little bit with the brush to show you how beautiful it is with the brush. So it goes on really nicely, right? But highlighter, and particularly products that have metallic sheen in them, really come to life when you use your hand. That is my fifth point. Your hand, the warmth of your hand, the texture, the rounded pad of your finger, as specific as that sounds, is actually what makes a highlighter look more like skin. And the last thing you want is to have shimmery particles that sit on top of your skin. And the same thing goes for eyeshadow. So I'm gonna use the same highlighter, and I'm going to just use this now on my nose, and you're gonna see the difference in metallic sheen from just like this sitting on my skin to like this being ultra blinding. Look at that. So it's intensely blinding, right? And you're like, well, why would I want that kind of highlight on my face? Well, then you use your same finger and you push it into the powder particles and into your foundation, and it gives you more of a glow that comes from within. So even if you don't want to use your hands for any other part of your makeup routine, I always recommend using your hands to apply your highlighter, just really pushing it into your skin and rolling your ring finger along your cheekbone. That's going to give you just so much of a better look than just having like a light layer sitting on top of your skin, because it just looks really artificial. So you really want to push it in to your skin and use your fingers and use the warmth from your hands to bring all of your shimmery particles to life. We're going to also use the same highlighter on the inner corners of my eye. Now, I've done this with a brush. A brush does not suffice. I want the warmth from my hand, and I want the small finger to really get in here and cradle this inner crevice and really get every nook and cranny there. When I use a brush with my inner corner area, I end up missing a few spots, and then I have like little creases and stuff like that, but the finger really just pushes the product in, and it fits really nicely right here. Eyeshadow today, we're going to go in with the Persona Identity 2 palette. I use this all day, every day, and it's something you've seen on my channel before, but I wanted to show you the difference in using this yellow right here. So this is it with a finger. You can see how intensely pigmented it is and how it's gorgeous with your hand. Compare that to using it with a brush. I'm gonna grab that same shadow and I'm gonna push it right here. So pretty, but definitely not that. That is like, oh my God, that's like, oh, it's pretty. Let's really push that in and blend it out. But you can see that with the brush, it starts to feather, and ultimately it becomes a little bit more dull. But with the finger, you have warmth, you have texture, and you have a rounded padded edge, and it just really brings that color to life. We're not gonna use the yellow because I have a work meeting today. We are gonna use this brown color right here, which is called Resilient. And we're gonna take our ring finger and we're just gonna push that and shear it on top of the eye. And our finger really allows us to feel where our crease bone is, so we know where to stop the color, and then it wakes up that shimmer. This Resilient color I've used before, and it definitely does not have that much of a shimmer, but when I use it with my finger, it's just like bam. I mean, you guys, that is so pretty, and it's such a nice little pop of like shimmer. That is so gorgeous. Okay, so now we have our eyes done. I did my mascara off camera because I'm testing a week of mascaras for a different vlog, but we're gonna go in with the lips, and I'm gonna show you why it's important to use your finger for your lip look. So a lot of people don't like the look of a really drawn on lip, and although I am a fan of that, I do know that it has a time and a place. I don't always wanna have a really sculpted lip on every single day. So I'm gonna show you how to get a very natural looking lip that's still overdrawn, because you know I draw the heck out of my lips, and make it work. So I'm gonna take the Buxom Supermodel lipstick. This color is the most beautiful, like rosy pinky mauve. I'm just gonna pop that on first. So I always do my lipstick first before my liner. Now, I press my lips together. Some of it gets on the edges. That's okay. Now we're gonna take our liner. I'm gonna go in with MAC Half Red. This liner is everything. Look at how pretty that is. And now we're gonna draw our lips on as we normally would. So if you overdraw, which I do. So I'm just gonna I make my lips like kind of like that, and I draw. Okay, so now we have our lips drawn on. We're gonna take our lipstick one more time, and you can go in with the lighter color at this point if you want to create an ombre effect. We're just gonna go back in with the original color that we put on, which is the 90s Supermodel. And we're gonna go over the edge where the lipstick and liner meet. And you're gonna take your ring finger and you're gonna use your ring finger to push the lipstick into the liner. That way you diffuse any line that could give away that you drew your lips on, and you really don't want there to be a spot of demarcation. And so you're just gonna kind of push those together. now you cannot tell that you overdrew your lips. So that is the sixth and final point. I think it's really important to use your finger and really manipulate your lip shape and your lip contours with your hand. But we're gonna zoom out and take a look at the entire look together and review all the different ways that we used our hands for this makeup look. Okay, so let's do a recap of everything we used our hands for. We first used our hands for our primer and our sunscreen. Next, we used our hands to sheer out our foundation. We used a combo of a very dewy one with a very matte one, and they came together beautifully. Next, it allowed us to identify our bone structure. So we really got to focus in on our under eye area to see exactly where we needed to place our brightening concealer, which was the Tarte Shape Tape, and stop it where our bone was. It also allowed us to go in with a darker concealer and a feel where we wanted to create our contours, and we used our hands to blend them out. The residual product that we had on our hands from this concealer allowed us to really contour and chisel the bridge of the nose. We used our hands to warm up our shadow. We wanted the Persona Identity 2 palette, and we demonstrated on the back of the hand how this gorgeous gold color came to life once we allowed the warmth from our hands to warm it up. And we also brought this bronze to life. This bronze is gorgeous, but with the warmth of our hands on our eyelid, it really came to life, and this is with no primer underneath. Fourth step, we took our Ofra highlighter in Rodeo Drive and we applied it on our skin first with a brush to see a really light veil, but then we took it up a notch with our finger. And fifth, we were able to overdraw our lips but make it look natural. That is really hard to do, and honestly, I am a chronic overdrawer, so I had to master a way that I could make this look natural, and this is how I do it. I hope that you learned something from this. I know that some steps were intimidating, and with that, I'll catch up with you guys later. Bye.